I thank and praise God for giving me this wonderful opportunity uh, to speak in my family as John Moses family, where I am also a part of this family. I thank God. When last month after the prayer, when Rajni told me that next month we have to praise and worship, and you have to speak, then I told I didn't speak anything. I told Rajni, what can I speak? But then I didn't go to prepare anything, and I didn't pray for anything. Really, to speak, I didn't pray for anything. I only sat where I was sitting, and I told Lord, you heard what Rajni told. Now you tell me, because I belong to this family where I know that there are 53 pastors, and it is totally a pastors' families, and there are big time worshippers, there are big time speakers who speak in conventions and big gatherings. And then I told Lord, I'm not qualified. Neither I have any topic to speak, or I don't have that much of Bible knowledge to speak about about the scripture or about anything. But then when I just spoke like that, because I can tell in my life, I have not gone to pray as a personal prayer in closing the room, going into a room as everybody prays. I don't know. I have never done that in my life as a personal prayer. Very, very rare that I have prayed like that. Otherwise, it is always with the family, with my wife and children. That is what I have prayed. Even before my marriage, I have prayed only with my family. Otherwise, I have never prayed as an individual personal prayer. People say it's a personal relationship with God. But I have always prayed is when I sit in my car, when I drive my car, when I'm alone driving, I'll say, Lord, come sit next to me. Let us speak. See this. I want this. I want to do this. This is my requirement. This is my prayer. This is for people. This is what you have done. I praise and I've spoken in that way. When I was when I was in my teens, and when I was young also, I used to walk. When I used to walk, I will talk. I will say, Lord, let's walk together. Let's pray. I want to pray with you. I want to talk with you. I never said, Lord, I want to pray with you. So then, as I was last month after the prayer, when I was sitting, then I told Lord, you have to tell me, what should I speak to this family? What is that I can present to this family? So then the Lord told me, it's not a dream or a vision or anything. It just came to me. The Lord told, you have to tell the whole family how from your birth, from your childhood, from the day you were born in this world, from that day till this year, as I'm 55 today, how I have led you, how I have guided you, how is your journey. You have to know, you have to tell this family, because they don't know about you. Then I told Lord, what is that I have to tell? Then he told, you tell them they are preachers. There are people in this family who are big time speakers and everything, but you tell them about your Jesus to them, because they know the Jesus in the scripture. They know the experience that they have from my blessings, from my doings, and from my everything. But you tell them about your personal Jesus, how I led you from your childhood to this day. What is your miraculous journey that you went through? that would be a testimony of yours, and I will be glorified through this. Then I told Lord, what all I should tell? He said, everything. Why you have to tell is because I have to be glorified. So today I open my life to the whole family to say, from my childhood, from the day I was born till today, how God led me. What is that He did in my life? What is how He led me through different paths of life, to through different ages in my life. How He how from rags to riches life, from non-recognized to recognized, and a status of life, how He led me. This is what He told me to share with you people, because you all know that I am Andrew, I am Rajni's husband, I am Keith and Kichu's father, and I do business and everything. But nobody knows what is the real Andrew from the childhood till today. So I told Lord, would it be correct if I share everything? Then He said, yes, you have to share your total journey with the people who know that. And after that I thought, yes, I think I should share about my life, what I went through in my life, in my personal life, in my schooling life, and in my teenage, and how God led me through all these ways, and how God brought me to this status and to this life. I was born in a RC family, as a Roman Catholic family, and we are Mangaloreans, and my grandfather and my grandmother, they came from Mangalore to Bangalore, and my grandfather started. He was doing his this car upholstery work. So he started his journey as a car upholstery man, and they started living in Bangalore. And then my grandmother, who is the first lady in my life, and my more than my mother, was my grandmother to me. So she started working in Bangalore, in Bangalore City Corporation. That is the buses that were plying at that time. It is called Bangalore City Corporation. And she entered that company as a conductor. And in her journey, she had 4 children, and she then was working. Then my mother was the second child for my grandmother. My mother also grew up in Bangalore, and then she was living in when she went to work to Bombay. She got married to my father, and my elder brother was born in Bombay. And then she came to Bangalore when she was when she conceived me. She came to Bangalore to be with my grandmother. And then I was born in Bangalore in 1965, where my mother, my grandmother, and my uncle and my auntie were there. So when I was born, we were living in Frasertown. And after I was born in Bangalore, my mother, when I was 10-month-old child, my grandmother told my mother, you have one son in Bombay, so you take care of him. We will take care of this son in Bangalore. So I was separated from my mother when I was 10-month-old, and I grew up with my grandmother and my uncle and my auntie. And so on, I grew up. So I was we had neighbors. and I was a child who was very active, and I believe I spoke very early, I walked very early, and in that period, I was always going to the neighbor's house. So if I have food in the morning, breakfast, I used to go to the neighbor's house. So I used to go sit there in the neighbor's house, play with them and eat. So at that time, what happened, why I'm telling this is, at that time, the lady of the house, she kept hot water for her husband to take bath. So that water was boiling hot water. I was sitting and eating chapati, I believe. When she was carrying that water, it was her hand, it became hot and she left the water down, and I was sitting there with no clothes. I was only wearing my maybe underwear, and I was sitting there, and the total from below my hip, it was totally, with the hot water, it was totally boiled, and I believe I suffered for life. Then I was taken to the first aid to the hospital. That time only boarding hospital, government hospitals were there. So with my two legs up, I was sleeping as a small, I think I was not more than 1 year or 13 months, 14 months old kid. So it was totally burned. They told, thank God nothing happened to his private parts. Otherwise, he would have been no more. So why I'm telling this is, from that day, God was with me. From that day, God kept me as an apple of his eye. And after that, as I grew up in the family, I was taken care as a royal child. I was taken care by my grandmother, because I was the only kid and there was no kid, my uncle, my auntie, my grandmother. So my grandmother loved me more than her children. She really loved me with no strings attached. She was so loving that she took care of me like a royal child. I was taken care of. But after that, when down the lane, when I was, I think 70, when I was around 4 years old, when I was around 4 years old, my grandmother got a quarters been allotted for her as a government employee. So we shifted to that quarters, and then when I was around 5 years old or 5.5, I started to go to school. I was admitted to St. Patrick's School in Bangalore, where it is in Brigade Road, where it's a posh area even from that time, and the school was also a very posh school. And I was getting educated. I was in the first standard itself, I was a ranked student. And those days we had very good English teachers. And when I was around in my 5th standard or 6th standard, the neighbors who were my grandmother's colleagues, who were working with her, the men flock, the neighbors, they saw us being so prosperous, because at that time my elder brother also and my 2 sisters also were come from Bombay. So my mother came, she left my father, and I don't know, they had some conflict. She left my father. My father was working in Bombay. Somehow, I don't know what happened. She left. They all came and settled in Bangalore. So seeing this prosperity, the neighbors, they did a witchcraft for our family. That is, I feel it is in 65. I was around 9 years old at that time. So they did witchcraft for my family, and we were affected with that witchcraft very badly. It was done in such a way that I should not go to school. The children should not go to school, because I was a ranked student and I was very good in my studies. So that should be disturbed. My grandmother should not go to work. So we should go astray in life, and we should be begging on the roads. Like we should not have a good life. This way, the witchcraft was done in such a way that it affected us totally, because we only knew that we are Christian, but we didn't have that relationship, that closeness with God. It was all, we were just Christians, and it was like that, so on. But this witchcraft affected us so much that I could not go to school. I was in my sixth standard when I remember. After that, I could not go to school. I cannot be at home, because the witchcraft was affected so much that I could not stay at home, and I was always going out of home, and I was staying in the park. And where should I stay? I don't know, but I cannot go home. But I cannot. I should. It is like I disliked the family. I disliked things. It was totally upside down in my head. Everybody who sees me when I was in when I used to come home, then they take me to church. Then when they take me to church, they will say, then the people who knew me from my childhood used to say, what is this boy? He was a rank student. What happened to him? Every priest prayed. Everybody prayed, but nothing happened to me in my life. But I cannot even study. Then what my mother did was, what to do with this child? He's so arrogant. He's so this thing, because I was very, very arrogant child. I used to fight with my aged children. I used to. There are so many incidents. There were so many bleedings for my age children, where I used to fight so much and be so arrogant. At that time, if you people believe or no, I was every evenings, my school also didn't refuse to give me a TC, because I was that good child, and they definitely wanted me to come to the school. So my mother took me to the school, then compromise everything. Then they'll say, okay, you come from tomorrow, Andrew, you come and study, you are a good boy. My teachers liked me also so much. But even then, I could not study. Then my mother, what she did is, she took me to the police station. She took my books and told the 3-star inspector that you have to give him tuition, otherwise he will not study. Because that arrogant I was, nobody can control me. So my 6th standard, when I had to go to school, evening, I have to go to school, I will come, then straight I have to take the books and go to the police station, sit in front of the inspector in his cabin, and he will teach me. I have to do my homework there. Even then, they could not do anything to me. I could not go to school. I'll go to school, but I will not go to school. I'll bunk the school. I'll go to Cubbon Park, where we have a Cubbon Park in Bangalore, where you have the toy train used to go at those days, and all these things. I will not go to school. But they will ask me, what is the homework? Said, I finished. It was so arrogant, nobody can talk to me like that. I was like that. Down the lane, after some time, it was so much affected in my life that I could not do anything. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know where I'm going. I don't know what is my life. But in I was around 14 years old in 1979. Yes, in 1979, it was that November 2nd. Before that, there was a meeting in Bangalore. There was a ground meeting where a preacher called Chris Panis had come to Bangalore. Before that, my grandmother, it affected my grandmother also. She also could not go to work. She didn't go to work for so many months and years. And every time we want that relief from this. So my grandmother, we used to go to the witchcraft people. We used to go, people will tell, you go there, he'll do some witchcraft, you will be saved from there. But we did everything. To cut short, we did everything, but nothing happened. Then we went for a meeting in Bangalore. It was one Pastor Chris Panis from US. So in that meeting, we got a small card, a visiting card from our church, Gospel Prayer Hall. After getting that card also, there were so many miracles taken place in that ground, but nothing happened to us. Then what happened? Then that card was given to us. Then somebody told us, why don't you go to that church? Definitely you'll be healed and definitely God will do miracle in your life. That was told to my grandmother. Then one day my grandmother and I went to this church in 1979 on 2nd of November. At that time, when we entered the church, we met the pastor, we met Pastor Amma. They prayed, they kept us in that place in the church for 6 months. From there, I used to go to school. Even then, I could not go to school because I think somewhere it affected me so much that I could not get anything called education. But then from there, I and my pastor both used to go to school. But he will go to school. His school is a different school. My school is a different school. So he'll go to school. I'll be gone away from the school. I'll not go to school. It went so on like that. And in 1980, I totally left. I started in somewhere in the early 80s. In 1980, early in the 80s, I decided that I will not go to school. And my mother told, now you don't want to go to school, you don't want to do, then what will you do in your life? Then I said, I don't know what I have to do. I was only 15 years old. Then my mother, what she did, she put me in a workshop to see whether I'm interested in work or anything. So when I was 15, I was sent to work in a factory where they used to. It is called Mahalakshmi Industries, where it is fabrications and fabrication, sheet metalist and welding and all that stuff. So at that time, at my 15 years of age, I was sent to the workshop and I started working. I worked for around 6 to 8 months there. Morning, I have to get up at 5 o'clock, go to my boss's house, take the key from the boss's house, open the factory. I have to pour shell water to the factory, sweep the factory, and then when everybody comes at 6 o'clock, I have to start working with them as a helper. So again, night 10 o'clock, I have to close the factory, go give the key to my boss's house, and I have to come home. So my grandmother was watching all this and she started crying because she took care of me like a royal child. So when I was doing this morning, I have to get up at 4 o'clock. I have to take bath. 5 o'clock, I have to go take the keys, open. It was a routine for 8 to 9 months. Then something came into my mind. I started asking my mother, where is my father? Then she told, your father is in Bombay. And I told, why everybody's father is with them? Everybody, they asked me, where is your father? Where is your father? What should I tell them? Is my father alive or is my father dead? What should I tell them? She said, your father is there. He's in Bombay. Then I think October, November of 1980, I, without telling anything to my parents and my grandmother, parents means my mother and my grandmother, that's it. So without telling them, I went to Bombay. And I had no money because where I was working, I used to get only 35 rupees per month. I used to get only 35 rupees per month at that time. But from there, I was not happy and I went in search of my father. But I had no address that where is my father, what is he doing. I only knew that my father is in Bombay. So at that time, there were trains flying to Bombay. I only knew that. I took the train and I went to Bombay without knowing anything. I didn't take any ticket and go to Bombay. I went without ticket to Bombay. And with me, there was another boy who came with me, and we both went to Bombay. That means I got friendly with him in the railway station. He told, I also want to go to Bombay. Then I said, I also want to go to Bombay. Then we took turns. When the TT comes, we'll go inside the toilet. And he'll go inside the other toilet. Because from Bangalore to Bombay, it was 24 hours journey. So when the TT comes, we'll go inside the toilet and come out. This is a journey of my journey. Like, people who hear today will feel, what is this? So I went to Bombay. When I went to Bombay, I got down in the railway station. I don't know what to do. I had no money. Then I said, what should I do? I don't have money. Then when I could not eat also. I didn't eat anything for that one day. Maybe some biscuits or something we got. I just ate that. And when I went to, there is a market called Crawford Market, where I took Rajni a few years back. So what happens there, they get box of fruits. You say peaches and all the fruits they get in the boxes. So what happens, if that fruit is, rotten in one side, they will take it out and keep it there in the side for anybody to take it and eat it. You can cut that and just eat it. But it's a good fruit, but in the side it is being rotten. In the box it gets rotten. So when I went through that Crawford Market, so I used to see that. I asked the shop fellow, can I take it? He said, take it, eat it. Then I took the knife, I used to cut. This is what I did on the first day. Then what to do? I cannot ask anybody to give me food. I cannot do that also. Then what I did, I was just going around at that time, where one carpenter, I met one carpenter. I really thank God today for that man who had come in my life, where he saw me. He was from North. So he saw me, he asked me, I asked him, I said, I want some work because I want to work. Because I was looking good and I was a smart kid. So he asked me, where are you from? I didn't know Hindi. I didn't know that Bombay Hindi to speak. I used to speak the Bangalore Urdu. So he told me, okay, you come with me, I will give you work. But he didn't let me work. Morning, he had a small house and he was alone there. So he told, you take care of the house, you be in the house. He used to give me 10 rupees every day and he used to go to work. And evening he used to come. That 10 rupees, I have to have my breakfast, I have to have my lunch and wait for him till evening he comes. But I could eat food in 2 rupees. Very nice food in Bombay at that time for 2 rupees. Breakfast for 1 rupee. What should I do? I cannot pass my time. So in that 2 rupees, another 2 rupees, 1 rupee, I'll go to a picture theater and take a ticket and go watch movies. So I used to watch movies at that time. And after that, this man came. Then I said, boss, he took care of me for 3 months. Then I said, 3 months, I said, this man is giving me, but why is he taking care of me? I don't know. Then I said, why is this? I cannot be like this. I want to work. So then what I did is, since I already started working in Bangalore for 6 or 9 months, I went to the same company in Bombay. Then I started working. I started as a helper in that company. It was already 81, somewhere 1 year, 1.5 year, 81, 82. 81, I started working in that company. It was called Mineral Process Equipments Private Limited. I was working as a helper. Then I became a junior fitter in that company. In 1.5 years, I did very well in that company, and I was really blessed there, where I had good salary there. In the meantime, in my mind, it was always, I want to make money. How to make money? How to become rich? You don't want to be poor in your life. You want to become rich. So what I did was, I met some people who were doing smuggling. They were what to say now? It was like people who used to sell drugs, who used to import smuggling with gold biscuits, who used to import expensive watches, and all these people used to do those businesses. I got friendly into that people, and I there were, like gangsters and things like that. So I got into this gang. This is again a short story, not a long story, which I cannot share everything. So what happened was, at that time, God was with me. Even then, why I am telling this is, I went through all this is because every time they say, the scripture says, I have kept you as an apple of mine eye. That proves that God has kept me as an apple of thine eye. He led me because I didn't know anything at that time. Then what happened was, I was going with these people all the time. We used to go to the dock. The ship used to come. Under the ship, there used to be a box where there used to be gold biscuits. So from that ship, those gold, I have to bring it. I have to go and deliver it to the place that I have to deliver. You should have seen in the movies that you have to take this and go and deliver in such place. So I used to do that routinely. I used to earn a lot of money. But I was also in the eye of the police people who used to keep their eye. There were CID people who used to keep their eye on me. Because every time you do this smuggling and all, definitely there are CIDs and crime branch eyes on you. So one day it happened like this, that a police inspector caught me red-handed when I was having the biscuits in my bag. And then he told me, what is this? I said, see, this is, it's a very expensive thing. If you are going to catch hold of me, nothing is going to happen. I have to deliver this, otherwise I will be in problem or something will happen to me. I really spoke to him so well that he didn't arrest me. He told, now this is the last thing you have to do. Give it, and next time you should not touch this. I told, okay, sir. For that time being, I said, okay. I just gave that. I came back. He told, come to the station. Then I went to the police station. He made me sit in front of him. Because at that time, I started making money. I was wearing a Rado watch at that time. To wear a Rado watch at that time, you should be a real rich person to wear. And when I was only 17, 18 years old wearing a Rado watch, definitely they will have a doubt on you. So he made me sit. He said, what is that you are doing? What is that this thing? How you got into this, and where are you from? I said, no, I'm from Bombay only. I'm this, I'm that. I'm working in this company. But he said, you are doing smuggling also. Then I said, I don't know what is smuggling. They only told me to give this there. I went and gave it there. No, next time if I see you, you'll be in trouble. So then what happened was, I cannot stop doing that because I want to earn money. But then I think even God was there with me at that time. There were so many gangs that we became, there were so many gangs that people, when a lot of smuggling used to take place at that time, because at that time there were big time gangsters called, even Aji Mastan was there. Some other name, if I tell you all the names, you all will not know all those names because they are not ordinary names. So at that time, I didn't stop doing the smuggling. I was doing the smuggling. I was buying the watches from the smuggling gang and selling it in the market. So every day I used to make good money. But then that money I used to start spending with drinking with my friends and merrymaking only. Nothing to keep. Because tomorrow also I'm going to earn the same money. It was like that. So on this process, I was working, I was doing this smuggling also. And then there were opposite gangs. By 1984, I became a very, very famous smuggling person in a certain gang. There were around say around 10 gangs in Bombay. In one gang, I was really a very important person who was doing very wisely and very earning a lot of money for the gang. So then what happened was, one day there was a rivalry between our gang and the other gang. So they had given a complaint, false complaint on us, because one guy was murdered in the seashore, near the seashore. So then what happened? They came and arrested me in Bombay. They took me with a false case. They took me to the station, but they didn't write an FIR. Today I understand what is FIR. That day I didn't know. So they tied me up like this, my two hands like this, and they started hitting me. And they asked me who did. Hitting in sense, it was that hitting you cannot take. It was like that. Then I told, no, I have not done. I stuck to my truth that I had not done all this. Then after 3 days, they released me. But then what happened? It was a misunderstanding that I had killed. It is like from our gang, we had killed that guy. So what they did was, they started to search for me to kill me. In 1984, I remember somewhere in November end, or somewhere November end, early December, I was really searched by people to be killed. They said somehow I got the information that they are going to kill you. They are not going to leave you. The opposite gang is going to kill you. Rivalry gang will not leave you. So end of almost in the first week of December or second week of December, I had to run from Bombay and I came to Bangalore again. After I came to there are so many incidents, so many things which I cannot tell to cut short with the time. So then I came to Bangalore in 1984, somewhere around second week of December. Then my parents asked me, my grandmother and my mother asked me, what is this? How you remembered us and you came to Bangalore? I said, I came for Christmas. I'll be going back, because I could not tell them that I would be killed if I go to Bombay again. And then what to do? I could not do anything. But they were going to Gospel Prayer Hall even then. Then in 84, when I came back, my pastor was already dead. In 1983, he expired. So it was my pastor, Daniel Paul, who's my friend. He had to take on the church. So in 84, when I came back, I went to church for Christmas. My friend was very surprised that his friend is come back to, then I told, I didn't tell him also. Even today, nobody knows the whole story of mine, what I was, what I did, what I was doing. So basically then my education I was only educated to 7th standard. And then in 84, after I came back, after Christmas, I joined the same factory because I don't know anything else to do. I went to the same factory where I left in 1979, and I went to the same factory. When I left the factory and I went as a helper. When I came back, I came back as a fitter to that company. In 1985, early 85, I started working again in the same company. And then the next journey started, because already decided, already done, I cannot go to Bombay. If I go to Bombay, I will be killed. Because they had kept surveillance near the railway station, near the bus stand, everywhere where you can escape. But I took a lorry and came to Bangalore. I just climbed a lorry and came to Bangalore. So then what happened was, I started working at that time, when I was working in the same company in 1985, 86, 87, I was walking around the streets. When I was walking, I used to speak to the Lord. I used to say, Lord, what is this, Lord? Where is my life going to go? What is that I'm going to do? I want to work hard. Give me good knowledge. Give me good strength to work and to do good things. Because this secret was into me, that what I did and what I was there in Bombay. So I started speaking to Lord and telling Lord, I'm sorry, what I did, all that I kept. And then my grandmother led me and told me, you go take fasting. Then I also thought I should take the total, I want to go into total revival. And I then went to church. I took a 10 days fasting. I remember in 1988, I took a 10 days fasting in the church. I slept, I took bath, everything in the church, where at that time when I used to pray, it used to come to my mind, where a Bombay life and where a church fasting prayer for 10 days. At that time, God was so good to me. There were so many pastors who prayed and who prophesied. When I used to walk and I used to pray, I should say, Lord, what is this? I have to work, I have to do. Then lot of people, lot of pastors used to tell, there is God's calling for you. You have to do God's ministry. Then I said, boss, but that arrogancy was there in me always. So I used to tell the pastors, how God will tell you that I have to go for ministry. If I have to go to God, do God's ministry, He will talk to me. He will tell me, let God come and tell me, you only pray. What did I tell you? I only told you to pray. Please pray. That's all. So they also used to feel, what is this man here? But then I used to speak to God. I said, God, why is that this pastor coming and telling me that I have to become I have to preach and all? See, Lord, I'm telling you one thing, don't make me a preacher. I cannot take the Bible and all and preach. I want to work. I want to become a big man. I want to earn a lot of money. I want to be a giver and not a taker. Because always I had that in my mind, that pastors are all poor. Pastors, they are lazy. And all this used to be in my mind because I was a workaholic all the time. I used to work. I only know to work all the time. So what happened was, down the road, when I was in 1988, when I finished this 10 days fasting prayer and everything, when I was working at that time, even I was working, my timing was morning 6 o'clock to night 9 o'clock. And it was very, very hard work that I used to work. I never used to come home for 3 days because that much of workload used to be there in the factory. They made me the foreman of the company. In 1988, I became the foreman of the company. Then I worked till around 6 months. But it was always there in my mind that I'm not going to work for life. I want to start something of my own. So then what happened? One day that time I had a good salary. In 1988, I used to earn around 7,000 rupees a month with my morning shift and my overtime and everything as a foreman. I used to earn around 7,000 rupees in 1988, where I know a government employee used to earn only 3,000 rupees. 3,000 rupees was a big salary for officers in government companies, in government factories. But then when I used to earn around 7,000 rupees, I went and there was so much of workload in me and I had to work so hard. I went to my boss and told him, from this month, I want 10,000 rupees as salary. Then he said, no, how can that be possible, man? You work for another 6 months, we'll see. I said, nothing doing. Today, we'll decide whether I will work or I will leave. You now decide and let me know. He said, no, till 6 months, I cannot give you 10,000 rupees. Then I said, I cannot give you the production. I cannot work because I used to give good production. I used to give good work. The turnover were very good for the company. God gave me so much of knowledge that without my education, I could read the drawing, the industrial drawing, do the markings, do the technically, I was very, very, you mean to say, when I asked God, what is this? I am not educated to do all this. God used to tell me that you are not educated, but you are qualified, man. I have qualified you. People who go to college get educated, but I am with you. You are qualified for everything. So when I was seeing the drawing and doing, I used to ask myself, Andrew, you are only 7th standard studied. How is this able to do? How are you able to do all this? Then I knew why I'm telling this is it was God who was with me all the time. Every time. It was only today what I'm speaking, what I am there. It is only God's grace and God's mercy upon me. That is what God told me. What I have to speak. Then God told me, you present your Jesus to people. Then what happened was in 1988, I got a contract for from a company where they called for contract to do contract, not to work. It was a piecework contract. So then I went to that company. Since I gave up my job, 2 months I was at home. I had little savings, but I was a saver from that time. I started saving when I was from 1986. I started saving. So when I went to that company for contract, there were around 21 people who attempted in that company for contract. There were 17 people who did samples for in that company. But it was only one person who would have given the contract. So when I was yet arranging my fixtures and jigs and all to do the work, when I started to do half the work, they stopped me. Then I thought, what is this? These guys are stopping me. I think they're leaving it. I think I am being disqualified. But then they said, Mr. Andrew, we'll come and sit. We'll sit across the table for negotiations. Then I said, Lord, what is this? Then they sat in front of me. We had negotiations. Then I started from 1988, September, August, September, I started my career as a contract in doing piecework contract. So then I started earning money. The first month I earned only very little. Then the next month I earned a lot. From that journey, by God's grace, I started making money everywhere where I wanted to do whatever business, whatever work. People used to call me to do cabinets, electronic cabinets, and sheet metaling. I was totally, experienced in arc welding, gas welding, spot welding, argonac welding, sheet metalist, fabrication, painting, everything. I was a total foreman by that time. And I was doing this contract, and that company was called Air Guide and Control. So we used to do AC grills for all over South India. That company grew, and I was in 1989. In 1989, I started, by God's grace, making good money. But then when I started making money, I started saving. In 1991, by the grace of God and by God's prayer and by everybody's prayer, they told me, like, now we have to see, Andrew, that you have to get married. Then I told myself, Lord, is this that I have to get married? That it is so early. I'm just 26 plus, almost 26 plus. Should I get married? Then I sat one day and I asked, not in the prayer, I just sat in my chair in my office, in my factory, and asked, Lord, what should I do? And he said, it came to me like, okay, I have my business, I got my factory, now I am able to get married. So then in 1990, we started to search for alliance. And then it was like this. I had, after my pastor expired, I had Stephen Uncle as my mentor, who I used to go to bring everything that I want. I will go to him. I will tell him, Uncle, pray for this, pray for that. Because early, every Saturday night, we used to meet in the church. When I was working and all, every Saturday night, we used to meet in the church. From 10 o'clock to early morning, 2 o'clock, we used to pray in the church. And we used to sleep there and attend the church and come back. So he was like my spiritual father, Stephen Uncle. So I had got so many alliances. I took those alliances to Stephen Uncle, and he used to pray. He used to say, not this girl. God has not told to this girl. Then I think after 4-5 alliances and photos and biodatas, one day daddy came to my house with uncle, whom we know, Pastor Jivanandam uncle, and Pastor Isaac Raj. They came home, they got the alliance. Daddy was so humble. Daddy spoke to me so well that he took out the photo, he took out the biodata and told me, this is my daughter's biodata. I saw so much humble that he was. He told, we live in Ranipet, because I didn't hear Ranipet before. And then he gave me the biodata. So I was waiting till the evening to meet Stephen uncle. Then I called Stephen uncle home. He came. But the Lord gave me so much of grace. People who are educated, people who are in higher status also, when I used to speak and say, they used to oblige, they used to listen, they used to, even, it was God's grace. So I gave Rajni's photo and this thing to Stephen uncle. I used to always give to him, and he prays and tells what God has told. So that time he prayed and he told me, whether you like it or not, this is the girl you have to get married. Because I always prayed to God that, Lord, you have blessed me with money, you have blessed me with everything. I need a good girl in my life. I need a good girl in my family to take care of my family, to take care of me. I need a good girl. Because I didn't know the words to say anything else. Wise, intelligent, all that were not in my dictionary. It was only, I need a good girl, I told. And that time, uncle prayed and told, this is the girl. Whether you like it or not, you have to get married. I said, okay, uncle, no problem. I said, then I prayed, then I got married. After that, after my marriage, we prayed. I had no second thought. I had the only thought that the firstborn will be my son. There is no doubt, there was no doubt in my life. I and my wife, we prayed and we said, Lord, whatever it is, the son that you are going to give us, we will give it back to you with the best presentation. We will try and give it to you. We will give him the best education and do all this. And we prayed. And after she was conceived, we got Keith in our life. But I, in the flow, I used to work, business, money used to come, but yet I was little far from God, because I used to do business with my friends who were, who were drinking and all this. When money came to me in that time also, I really left God and I went with my friends. And every evening, I have to sit with my friends to drink and smoke. So what to do, I didn't know. I was totally addicted. And then it came 1997 when Rajni went to 95. Rajni went to Malaysia, came back. 96, she went again to Malaysia. I was doing my business, but I was into drinking. But then I was also doing good business. But then I started my construction business in 96. In 90, I sold one building. In 97, the total, the building that I built, I put all my money in 97 in that building, and it totally came to a standstill. It was, the real estate got totally down. The whole economy was down. And again, from 97, I had a very low, very, very low life where I could not say anything. There are people who were my friends, who used to drink with me, who were with me, to whom I used to entertain, I used to pay the bills at every time, started ignoring me, because now they thought that they have to spend because I didn't have money. It was there that everybody had written off that Andrew is finished. From here, Andrew cannot get up because I was totally done. And Rajni was in Malaysia. I was alone in Bangalore. Keith was in Malaysia with Rajni. I was in Bangalore. I didn't know what to do. I cannot pray. I cannot go to church properly. I will go when I like. I was coming. I was not properly in God. Yes. But then sometimes I used to read the Bible. I used to sometimes sit and pray. But yet I used to say, Lord, it used to come to my mind that Job went through so much in his life. He lost everything. But I used to tell Lord, Job lost everything what he had, but he didn't have credit in his head. But I've got credit in my head. Lord, look into that. When is that you are going to see? But even then, for namesake, I used to pray a little. Then, but my drinking was always there. I never used to concentrate too much. I cannot do business because I don't have an idea to do the business. It was totally, my head was totally blocked. Then then Rajni came back in 1998. When Rajni came back from Malaysia, Mummy was with us. Then in 1999, there was a ad in the paper that you need a good technically qualified people for all this. I had no qualification, but I had all the experience. When I went there, they said, boss, you have to complete a machine in India. The same machine, you'll have to go and do it in the US. Then I told, is it that I have to go to US? But what is the salary? They say Indian salary, you have to go to US. The man who used to do business, who had so much of money, who used to drive car and everything, it was totally, I came to just a bike what I had. I went to this company. I started working for this company. I completed the machines, what we had to do. Then from there, they told me you have to go to US. At the same time, everything started, I don't know. It just started to bud in my life again. And at that time, I can say in 99, when Papa got married, I was totally down. We were totally financially, I was zero, like you can say I was zero. At that time, I should remember one more lady in my life who's my mother-in-law, who I call Mummy, who was always with us. She definitely helped me, helped our family. That time when Kichu, when Rajni was, we were conceived for Kichu, at that time, Mummy was with us. And that time when I got this job, before when I went to US, I came back from US, Kichu was born, Mummy was with us. Mummy used to do this hand pot. She used to do all the pot and flower she used to keep on the pot, and we used to sell that. Then she used to make that cushioning, with nice pleated designs. She used to make cushions. That also we used to sell. And that way, God helped me. But in 2000, when Kichu was born in 2000 May, after that, I didn't know what to do. I was really so down. I said, Lord, what is this? Where is that after this night? Where is the day for me that I can see the day, the bright? Where is it? I cannot see anything, Lord, with my wife, my two children. What should I do? I don't understand. In the year 2000, somewhere after, I remember somewhere October, November, I got so annoyed. I thought I'll go and suicide. I thought I will suicide because my total money is in the building and I could not do anything. There were some papers that had to set right on that to sell that building also. There are so many people who are coming, but I'm not getting the price. But then I had to get a paper also done. I said, what to do? I could not do anything. I said, I'll go and suicide. Then, even then, I could not go and suicide because I met a friend at that time. I left home and went in the night, and I got a friend. He said, hey, where are you going, man? I said, I don't know where I'm going. Then he said, hey, come, man. Come with me, man, he said. And I went to his place. I was sitting. Then he started pouring because they know I used to drink. So he started pouring. Then I was, in my mind, it was, I'm taking the drink, but in my mind, it is always coming. What am I going to do in the morning? What is that I'm going to do in the morning? Because today I decided what to do. Tomorrow morning, what am I going to do? But even then, I don't know what happened. I just drank. I went to sleep. I could not get up in the morning. By then, Rajni was really panicked. Rajni was totally panicked. And it was all over. People came to know that I don't know where I am. I don't know where, because that time there was, we had no mobile. And then after maybe at around 12 o'clock in the afternoon, I thought Rajni would be worried. Only that came to my mind. I said, I should not do this. Rajni will be worried. Then I came home, and then I could not do what. She started crying. Children started, my kids started crying, and I didn't know what to do. But there was God always with us. Then it was Rosie who helped us at that time and did this paperwork for me. And after that, end of 2000, I sold that building for very less price. I said, I want to do a beginning where I can see God will bless me. I sold that building, which was worth around 25, 26 lakhs. I sold it for 18 lakhs. I gave all my debts, and I had 10 lakhs with me to start my business afresh. So in 2001, I started my business again. God blessed me. And then it was down the road. Again, God blessed me in such a way. Again, I started my drinks again. And I didn't know, because in 2005, I built this house where we are. In 2006, I completed this house. My business flourished. I started making a lot of money. But then again, it were friends, where I went to my friends. But in all this journey, I should only thank God, and I should be very grateful to Rajni, who was, I cannot say, there are no words, but I know one thing, that no woman has suffered as much as Rajni suffered. Not without finance, not without that mental agony that she had in her head, that I was so arrogant and I used to drink, but I was not violent. But the habit of drinking was against God and against my family also. But I could not do anything. In 2005, 6, 7, 8, 9 and all, it was morning. I will leave home at 10 o'clock. I will finish my work, business, everything. I will come home, get fresh. 7 o'clock, I will leave home. Then I will be back only around 11, 12, 1, 2 o'clock in the night. And Rajni used to be awake till I come. What to do? I was in such a manner that I could not change. But in 2011, yes, in 2011, July 21st, I used to sit in the club always when I used to drink. So I had the same drink. I finished everything. I came in the night at around 11, 12 o'clock. on 21st of July 2011. I slept early in the morning on July 22nd, 2011. Early in the morning at around 6 o'clock, I had a dream. In my dream, I was in a ship, in a cruise, that people were in the cruise and everybody was drinking, dancing, and making merry. I was also one among them in my dream. And when I was drinking, when everybody was dancing and making merry, at that time I saw the ship was wrecking, the ship was breaking. And anytime it was in my mind in the dream that the ship is breaking. So suddenly I said Jesus in my dream. And in my dream, I see that I'm come to the seashore. Next to me is standing is Stephen uncle and his wife, auntie. I'm telling that auntie, see that ship. It is wrecking. And I was in that ship. Then she told in Tamil, Paralapa, Kartaruna kapatitare, she told. I told, Ama auntie, Kartarana kapatitare, I told. In the dream. In the same dream, after I got a song in my dream. It was I didn't sing that song for a long time. That it came to my mind. Ennaye kuduthen unakai en magane adai ariyayo nitya jeevanai ni adaye naan ennaye kuduthen. This song came in my head, in my dream. Then morning at around 7 o'clock, I got up. I sat. I was sitting. Then I started, something came in my mind. Something I have dreamt, something has gone, something is happening to me. What is that? I started to react. And then I recollected this dream, which was this. I didn't tell Rajni anything. I didn't speak anything. I just told, I didn't pray also. I just closed my eyes and I told, Lord, is this that you have spoken to me? Then I said, Lord, I didn't tell anything. I just stayed quiet. From that day till today, I didn't touch the drink, neither I touched my cigarette, nothing. But God was with me all the time. God blessed me with everything that I am today. After I gave up my drink, after I gave up from 2011, Lord started to bless me several times, 40, 60, and 100 folds. God blessed me. And it was when I mended my ways, God put me to his ways. And God did everything what he seems good in my life. Why I want to tell this is, as a testimony today is, I know that in this family, there are preachers, there are people who know the Bible in and out of the Bible totally. But I know one thing, that I was not a humble person. I was not a very good, in my ways, I was not good. But it was God who was with me all the days of my life. He is so faithful in my life. That is what, when I told Lord, what will I speak? God told me, present your Jesus to the family. Present your Jesus, because I'm a very different Jesus to you. Your family would have seen the Jesus who has blessed them, who has been in their family life. But I am the Jesus who was there in your all the life, what you went through in Bombay, from your childhood, what you did, even after that. Even today, I have enemies, jealousy, everything is there. But even then, I only have to glorify God and glorify my personal friend, I can tell, because it was all my life. I have not personally sat and told, Lord, bless me this one. It was always, I've only spoken to Lord. I've only spoken to God. And now I can say that God loves an arrogant person than a humble person. I know that God blesses the person and he will never let you if he is kept his eye upon you. What the scripture says is, I have kept you as an apple of mine eye. That means he was always, his eyes were upon me, and he has not let me in all my life. He has blessed me. Even when I asked him, Lord, in my alliance, what should I do? I am not an educated man. But today he told me is, you are not educated, but you are qualified to do everything, man. What? Because I don't have a mentor to teach me business. I didn't have any business background people who can teach me to do my business, or to lead a proper business oriented life also. But it was God who has done everything. And when I say as a family life, if I can come to leave the business aside and come to the family, I can say people will get good wives, people will get, educated, intelligent wives. But I have got a wise and a prayerful wife. That is more important, I think, in my life. Because every time I was not walked in God's ways, but Rajni was always beside me. Every time I come at home, I will say, why are you sad? Why are you sad? There is money, there is everything. Why are you sad? I said, she used to say, I am not sad. I am only for you. I am sad. You have to change. I said, why should I change? Everything is there. Why are you? Because I was like that. It took so much of toll on me. My children suffered because my education was there for the children, money was there, everything was there. But the father was not with them all the time. I give total credit if God has blessed me with good children. Yes, God has blessed me with good children. They're getting educated. I even didn't know at a certain time that which standard are my children studying in. I didn't know. People, when I used to meet people, they say, what is your elder son doing? I didn't know to tell which standard he's studying or what he's doing, because I was totally into my business and my drinking, my friends, only that was my life. I totally give credit to God who has blessed me with everything, blessed me with Moses, John Moses family, with the Clement family, and my wife, my children who are so getting educated and so good in God's ways, where I sit and think today, Lord, I was not like that. I was not like this. But my children are so good. They are so God fearing and all this. I should be grateful to God that God has blessed me with everything, and given me everything that I want. When I told the Lord, Lord, I should be a giver and not a taker, he blessed me with the same ways. He heard my prayer. He gave me everything that I want. Today, I'm happy to say that I have shared my Jesus to the family. What my Jesus has done for me and what he has blessed me and how he has kept me. The whole journey was not the whole thing that I could tell because there's no time. There were so many other things and incidents in my life that God saved me from. Today, I only praise God and give all the credit. What I have spoken, everything, and how my journey was taken care of God. And I thank God for giving me this opportunity to present my Jesus to you people. I thank and praise God for everything.
Very good.